All right, so layer ones, the most important part of a crypto portfolio, in my opinion. I think they can provide very stable returns, but also give you massive upside, as we've seen, obviously, in previous cycles. We've seen the likes of Solana do massive X's. We've seen Cardano do massive X's. And even this bull run, we've seen Sui do absolutely exceptional gains, a project which I personally called on the channel and in my VIP group way below $1. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you my thesis on why layer one should be a large part of your portfolio. And I'm going to go through individually my favorite ones and tell you how many X's I think each of them could potentially do. Now, before we get into it, I want to let you know about a really special offer that I have for you guys right now, which is to get on a call with one of my closest representatives, discuss your portfolio, go through, your exit strategy, make sure you're in the best projects and all of that. These guys are trained in alignment with my personal views on the market, and they're going to help you out a ton. All of the feedback we've had so far from these calls have been tremendous, and I highly recommend you get on. You can use the code CALL, that's CALL, at checkout, and you're going to save yourself a massive 30% off the payment to get on a call with someone who knows what they're talking about, and they're going to help you out with your crypto journey. Now, for me, Bitcoin dominance here is at a really pivotal point. Either it keeps on heading up and goes to potentially 73%, and it takes us a long time to see a drawdown on Bitcoin dominance, and potentially we don't get any major altcoin bull market this cycle. Or this is the argument that I favor. Bitcoin dominance finds resistance here at this 786 fib level of around 66%, and we actually start to fall down, potentially sweeping these lows of back in kind of November, December time and getting dominance back into the 50s again. I think if we can do that, the altcoin market is going to have a really, really nice run. And layer ones are obviously going to be the type of projects you want to be in because they provide safe returns, as in they're not just going to rug pull tomorrow like a meme coin, but also they provide explosive returns as well. So, what do I look for in a layer one? There's a bunch of different things I look for, and not every single layer one has to be the same for me. Certain layer ones, I'm happy if they didn't raise a lot of money. For example, Casper. Okay, Casper is a layer one. They raised no money from VCs because it was a fair launch. Whereas other coins, such as Sui, I emphasize a lot on the private sale and how many hundreds of millions of dollars was actually poured into Sui by big money players. It all really depends on the actual purpose and the USP of that particular layer one. If a layer one is aiming to be decentralized, then obviously it needs to be decentralized. It needs to have a fair launch. It needs to be potentially proof of work and all of those things to truly be a decentralized layer one for peer-to-peer payments or a store of value, just like Bitcoin. Casper obviously ticks those boxes as a decentralized layer one. However, when it comes to VC investment and big players and big backing, Casper actually fails on a lot of those metrics. Whereas other layer ones, such as Sui, such as Say, they actually pass on those metrics and do tremendously well. So it all depends on the type of layer one you want and what your goals are with your portfolio. I personally like a lot of diversification, and for that reason, I have a diverse array of layer ones. You've got layer ones in all different sectors. So, for example, I have Potenza Tau, which to me is a great AI layer one. Okay, Tau basically allows for all these different AI agents and AI models to build on Tau and do the protocol, right? So I'm really, really bullish on Tau as an AI layer one, but it's not necessarily a broad layer one that's going to have, loads of meme coins on it, gaming on it, all those different things. It's mainly an AI centered layer one. So obviously you understand now what I look for in a layer one and, why I believe it's important to have some diversification. Now we should obviously go into each of my individual picks and tell you how many potential X's I see these picks doing and why. And spoiler, at the very end of the video, I'm going to share with you a degen layer one, which could potentially, okay, don't quote me on it, potentially 20x or more your money this bull run if it all goes to plan. Now, as I'm recording this video, I just remembered, obviously, if you go ahead and book a call using the code CALL, you also gain access to this crypto guide, which is really, really informative. It goes through all my current recommendations for a crypto portfolio, how I'd structure it, and how I'm actually personally planning on exiting this market precisely. So check that out. If you're interested, you can gain access by booking a call with one of my closest representatives. Now, when it comes to actually giving price predictions for layer ones, it can become quite difficult, and there's various ways of doing it. One way is by purely looking at the chart, and the other way is by trying to intrinsically value the layer one based on its fundamentals, its on-chain usage, its partnerships, and all of those different things. I personally prefer to look at the charts over kind of intrinsic valuations because I find the valuations to be very arbitrary, but it's completely up to you how you decide to do it. I personally think a balance of the two with a bit of extra weight towards the charts is the best way to do it. Now, the first layer one, obviously, I'm going to discuss is Sui. And one way you could look at potential price predictions for Sui is by simply putting on the fibs from the highs to the lows here and then looking at some potential targets. You've got one target coming up here, the 1.618 at 5.56. That would almost be a double top. So if you wanted to take a little bit of profits on Sui at a double top, you're more than welcome to, because obviously the fibs are also backing that up. But if you're looking at higher targets than that, you've got the 2.618 at 7.58, you've got the 3.618 at 9.60, and the 4.236 at 10.85. So I think it's reasonable to assume Sui will top out anywhere in here because it does usually respect the fibs. I think any calls for a Sui above $10, above $12 is maybe a little bit ambitious. And yeah, anywhere in here can kind of be the top for Sui. Now, if we go and look at some comparisons, I think one comparison we could make with Sui could maybe be Polkadot from last bull run, which was a layer one, which did really well. And if you look at that, that actually shows that Sui would be a $16 per coin asset, which actually far exceeds the fibs that I'm looking at here. So, this is where it really comes into play. It's completely up to you how you decide to take profits on these coins. Could Sui go to a Polkadot level market cap of 56 billion over 6 times its current valuation? Yes, it could. But is time on our side this bull run to the point where you want to wait for that? I personally will not. And obviously, a lot of it's based on your entry point as well. I got an entry point on Sui at 0.76, so I'm already in really nice profits. I don't need to wait another 5, 6, 7, 8x. I could already start taking profits another 2 or another 3x from here. So I personally think Sui is like a 20 to 30 billion market cap coin this bull run. Maybe it could go a bit higher, but it all depends obviously how high Bitcoin goes and how much of a major bull run we actually have. The next one I would be looking at would be Say, and this is a layer one that I've been talking about day in, day out on this channel recently. And I think if you can get it anywhere below 30 cents, this is an absolutely excellent buy. I personally think Say can go anywhere between $1 to $2 in price. It's actually government backed or government interested, you could say now, because they've literally got a state in America, Wyoming, that is exploring Say as a potential chain to build their own stablecoin on. So I'm really bullish on it. All the metrics, all the stats are on the up. I also like the meme coin market on Say as a potential degen lottery ticket option. One coin I'd be looking at maybe as a degen play on Say would be Sayan token. It's got a 3 million market cap, but it is highly, highly volatile. You can see massive ups and down swings in the prices just based on, a couple of guys maybe with big bags buying and selling. But that obviously works to the downside, but it also works to the upside. So it's just increased volatility to the up and to the down. So Say, I think, could do, anywhere between a $1 to $2 price, which to me is pretty good returns considering I was buying this thing as low as 15 cents over in the VIP group. Now, my next pick would be Casper, and I mentioned how it's a decentralized layer one, and it kind of goes against some of my criteria for other layer ones in the fact that usually I look at the backers, I look at how much money is actually poured into the layer one. For example, Sui, they raised, I believe, over 200 million from VCs, and Say raised over 100 million from VCs. We can just double check that right now just to make sure I'm correct, because I don't want to just spout around random numbers. If we go and look at Sui, we go to fundraising, you can see, yep, they raised 385 million. If we go to Say, you can see they raised around 95 million. So I said 100 million, they raised 95. It's around the same ballpark, right? But the point is, these coins raise big money and they raise it from big players. One of the investors into Say was Circle. Circle has a stock on the stock market which has just gone up loads. It's massively invested in by big players. And, you know, if they're buying into something like Say, to me, that is a very, very good sign. But with Casper, obviously, it doesn't have any of these. It's a decentralized fair launch layer one. And that is a double-edged sword, okay? It's great for the decentralization aspect of the trilemma, but when it comes to things like marketing, it can be very, very slow. And we've seen that this bull run when it comes to exchange listings. Casper is still not on Binance or Coinbase. However, if that does happen, just one of those two, it's going to be the most explosive pump we've probably seen for the entire history of Casper, because everyone's been waiting for it and everyone will pile in. So, you know, I see Casper doing pretty well. I probably see it going to 30 cents. I've got to be honest, despite, you know, I mean, previously, maybe a year or two ago, saying it could hit $1, it has stalled off, and I have revised and downgraded my target on Casper due to the very lackluster price action it's had now for well over a year. But despite that, I still think it's a great coin. Like I said, my entry point was at 3 cents. If it goes to 30, I'll be up 10x. I'll be more than happy. Next play, obviously, Potenza Tau. This one's held up really, really well. I want to just quickly pull up the chart here for Potenza Tau, because look at this structure. Look at where it found its support. It found its support on this crash, you know, that there was largely kind of the Middle Eastern tensions crash caused by the Iran and Israel escalations. You can see we literally came down here to that golden pocket and we got a nice clean bounce. Tau for me would be a great buy today, and it's in the AI sector, an AI specific layer one, $2.9 billion market cap. I could see Tau doing very, very well this cycle. If we go and we look at where it's got to already, it's already gotten to like $700, $800 almost. I see it getting above that and potentially hitting $1,000 this bull run, or maybe even higher per coin. Now, if you stay to the very end, you've got my degen play for the layer one sector. You guys know I always like to give you a good array of different project market cap ranges. I've given you some blue chips here. I've given you a mid cap. Now I'm going to give you a bit of a low cap, $75 million market cap. We've talked about projects here in the billions. Peak isn't even in the hundreds of millions. So this is a really, really cheap project. And the quality of the project for me is astonishing. I mean, it's literally a deep in layer one focusing on powering the machine economy. So all these different things you can imagine, all these different physical infrastructures, Peak can essentially be the place where they all run on. And this obviously cuts out a lot of the bureaucracy and how slow some of these centralized systems are and how there's a single point of failure. And you can see some of these backers, some of these big names backing Peak or using Peak are absolutely insane. We've got Airbus, we've got MasterCard, we've got Bosch. These are some major names all behind Peak. And for that reason, I am extremely, extremely bullish on the project. Now, the price action, I've got to admit, it has not been good. It's been, you know, let's just say it how it is. It's been a shit show in terms of price. It's been straight down, basically. But eventually, the market has to recover. The altcoin market has to recover. And people are going to be scooping around looking for undervalued layer ones, because everyone knows layer ones are the coins that can potentially get to tens or hundreds of billions in market cap. And for me, Peak would be one of the ones that people see as a really, really undervalued gem. So I'm bringing it to your attention here at 0.07. I think it's got a ton of potential. I personally doubled down on my Peak down here around 7 cents. I dropped a buy alert for the VIPs, and I think this one has a lot of upside potential because it's simply dumped so much. I mean, it's been crazy, the dumps for Peak. But despite that, they're still building. I believe they're getting listed on Kraken anytime soon now. They're already on crypto.com. So they've got legitimate exchanges, legitimate backers, and a legitimate product. And obviously, if you've got all of those, yet your price has been going down, I think it's a great valuation discount. So that wraps up today's video, guys. As always, make sure to go and check out that VIP group. Also, smash a like on the video if you enjoyed. But definitely go and check out that VIP group. We've got daily voice chats in this group. I'm dropping chart alerts on things like the S&P 500 and how it relates to crypto, Bitcoin dominance. We've got Cryptex here dropping Ethereum alerts. This group never sleeps, and you can track everything I'm doing in the market. You can see if I buy a coin in an hour, I'm going to drop exactly how much of that coin I bought in the buy and sell alert channel, and the VIPs are going to see it instantly. And as you've already seen this video, had you just been in this group, you would be up on a ton of these coins massively, and you'd be looking to make huge gains this bull run. It's still not too late. Check it out. Also, book a call with one of my closest representatives. If you're interested in that, use the code CALL at checkout, and you're going to save yourself a ton of money. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.